Hello, my name is Michael Brooks, and today I'll be talking about the fermentation process that took place, and just answer some general questions about it. So the fermentation process that I decided to do was with yogurt. So this is the final product. This is yogurt, and this is after about, I want to say, about roughly 24 hours of fermenting. So the process, what I did was, first I took a couple of cups of milk, and then I took a couple of tablespoons of already pre-made yogurt. And what I did was I got the milk and I heated it to 180 degrees, and I stirred it until it frothed it up. And after it frothed it up, I let it cool to room temperature of about, um, well, a little bit over room temperature, so it's about 100 degrees. And then I let it sit. I let it sit for about 4 hours so it'll cool down, because I didn't want to mix it with the yogurt at such a high temperature, because I didn't want to kill the bacteria, in the yogurt, because that's needed to grow and help aid in the process. So after I let it sit for about 4 hours and cool, I mixed it too, and I mixed it, and I mixed it up real good, and then I sat it in this jar, and then I let it sit in this jar for anywhere between 8 to 24 hours, and this is the final product. I got my yogurt. So throughout this whole process, the major groups of microorganisms that formed were due to lactic fermentation, comprising of the thermophilic type of microorganisms, such as Strep thermophilus, Bulgarius, and just to name a few. So the process of making bacteria, it makes energy through this process during the fermentation of sugars. Lactose, which are proteins in nature, they're broken down to smaller molecules called fermentation products. And since the lactose is a disaccharide, the enzymes of the lactose, it splits, and the lactose splits into what we know as glucose and galactose. Now through glycolysis, which is the simple sugar that's in the yogurt, the bacteria are imported into the cells. So that's why it's important that the water, not the water, but the milk isn't too hot, because we don't want to kill this bacteria. And at this stage, more enzymes, they work to split into six carbons, glucose, and into three carbons of lactic acids molecules. This conversion, what it does is it produces energy in the form of ATP and ADH, which is the cell used to grow, um, which is what the cells use to grow. After the bacteria is extracted, and the energy from the sugars and from the name is acid. So during the production of this acid, the pH of the milk, it drops down from about a 6 to about a 4, and this acid is a contributor of the sour taste in the yogurt. And that's the basic, and the familiarity, sorry about that, between fermentation process, and in particular between yeast and yogurt. This is the basic microbial strategy used to produce energy. But unlike yogurt fermentation, waste products is lactic acid. Yeast secretes ethanol as a waste, and now the fermentation comes in handy during the preservations of milk. And this is why most microbes can survive at this low pH. Um, and since the lactic acid lowers the pH in the yogurt and the milk, this limits the bacteria that can grow. Thus, to use milk. This is why we use milk as a preservative in the process. And also, when it comes to the oxygen, oxygen is used to make the microbes grow, and it's substituted, over time with carbon dioxide. I was successful in making my fermentation food. I didn't think it was going to work at first, but as time passed and as it maintained that temperature, it did work. As we can see, it was milky, but now it's thickened up. If you can see that back end. If I could change anything, it would be to. I wish I had a thermometer because my temperatures, I know they weren't exactly the way they were supposed to be. I know when I was warming it up, the milk was supposed to be at 180. When I was cooling it, it was supposed to be at 100 degrees. And I know for sure that it probably wasn't on the amount that it was supposed to be. But other than that, it was a pretty good project, and and I had fun. So thank you.